Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and we're gonna talk about Game Pass today. So the numbers have dropped. Microsoft made what $2.9 billion off of the services of Game Pass. So that's kind of interesting, and in my opinion, it is working exactly like it should be. It's working like it should be. You can play more games at a lower cost, which takes away so much of that anxiety as a gamer that we all have. I don't understand why these guys on the other side just can't seem to understand that, like, no, man, Game Pass is not lowering the quality of your games. It's not doing that. It's not doing that. You're going to get these games however they were made either way. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody is out there, aside from Xbox first-party studios, actively making games to throw them right onto Game Pass. They're just not doing that. They're making games, and they're like, oh man, we're struggling with development costs, or we're having this problem or that problem. And then Microsoft comes in and is like, yeah, man, we'll fund your product, but we want to put it on Game Pass, man. We'll help with that. Or they're developers that just their game's not selling anymore, or it's not doing that great, and they're like, yeah, man, can we put this on there? A lot of developers, I mean, I've been talking to this developer, Mike Rose, for a long time. No More Robots. They're responsible for the Descenders game, the brand new game that just came out, to build a zoo. These guys have found dramatic success with putting their games onto Game Pass, and that's because more people can play them. Now, I've been arguing with this dude on Twitter today, and he seems to think that for some reason Xbox is going to destroy the Activision or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. But here's the thing, man. If your game is on Game Pass, and I'm a Game Pass user, and I'm like clicking there to see what's recently added, I get to see your cover. It's right there, and it says free to play for me because I have Game Pass. And I'm like, ooh, that cover looks interesting. So I click on the cover. And then I see some of the gameplay, and I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting. So then I jump on the cloud, and I play it for 5 minutes, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So then I download it, and then I can play it native. And then if I really, really, really love that game, guess what? I can buy it and get a discount. Like, it's that simple. It's really that simple that you get to play that you can see that. And then every month you get to see, like, they announce the new games that are coming to Game Pass. Yeah, they're not like blaring them across the TV, spending millions of dollars in advertising no more. Why? Why would they do that? All they have to do now is advertise Game Pass. Hey guys, Game Pass, look at this month's lineup. And you're like, whoa, Mo, that's a cool game that I wanted to check out. It just so happens that this month, there's a lot of games I want to play on Game Pass. There's a lot of them. That's saving me a lot of money that I don't have to buy any of those games. So now I can just buy, Gotham Knights, Call of Duty, pick up Sonic Adventures or Sonic Frontiers next month, and some God of War and all these other, AAA games. And I get to play everything. And I don't have to spend a fortune this time. I don't have to spend a fortune the end of this year. And then we don't even, like, what are we going to get in November? What are we going to get in December? That's the thing, man. Game Pass saves us money. Why would we care about how deep Microsoft's pockets are? No, Microsoft is making money on Game Pass hand over fist. $2.9 billion in a year for subscriptions. I know they didn't pay no $2.9 billion for all those games to be on there. Like, I mean, we know that's not, I mean, we know that's a fact. Take your best, so take one $70 game. These games are now selling anywhere from 1 to 6 million, unless it's like Elden Ring, and then they boom, knock it out of the park with like 13 million, or, Cyberpunk or something like that. Like those really exceptional games that there's a lot of hype, like a Call of Duty or something like that. All the other average games in between, they're doing anywhere from like 1 to, I'm gonna be generous, say $6 million. So if you times $70 times 6 million, that nets you about $450 million. $450 million to sell that one game. Say it's a big AAA game with a huge budget, like Guardians of the Galaxy or Marvel's Avengers, or one of these games that they pump a lot of money into. and then they just never tend to meet the sales expectations, because you always hear Square Enix crying about how that, and now they're like, oh man, we need somebody else to pitch in on these games and help fund them so that we can bring them to the market. And here's the thing, man, like, it's developing these high quality AAA expensive heavy budget games is far less sustainable than building a game for Game Pass. Or I mean, like, if developers actively went out and built games for Game Pass, yeah, it's different. But Game Pass brings its own advertising. It brings its own consistent residual income every month. Gamers are still paying it. Even when there's a month that, like, the games aren't that great, you're still paying it because you want to keep playing the games that are great. So you're going to continue paying this every month and receiving these games. And if you're really smart, then you could just not every 6 months sign up for $15 and play all the games for a whole month. Like, it's not even your problem to care if Xbox's pockets are deep or if PlayStation's. Now, you always hear PlayStation complaining about, like, man, we can't afford to put our games on there. It should not be part of the virtuous cycle. There's a difference. PlayStation games are made to be played one time. That's why you're starting to see the sales drop for those games when they come out, especially at $70. Nobody wants to pay that. They're like, oh boy, I'll wait for it to go on sale or something like that. And you know, there's a dedicated fan base that's out there that does buy them day one. I mean, I'm one of those. I buy them day one. But as time goes, like, seriously, man, those games, I would much rather play a PlayStation first party game on a subscription service. I would. And I would pay my monthly subscription service. And PlayStation's got the perfect way. They lock you in. With that annual subscription rate being a little bit cheaper than paying $18 a month. Like, it's $120 for a whole year. They lock you in. Like, you pay for the year, you get those games. Like, you're already there. You're locked in. You can't. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they've got the perfect way to fund their first party games in there. And if Xbox is at what, 30 million subs, and they're baking $2.9 billion a year, that's sustainable enough. I mean, I feel like, see, either PlayStation A doesn't have confidence in their first party games because there's only a small dedicated fan base that actually buys those, so they're essentially taxing us $10 for every one of these games, and then they get like Activision and EA and all these other big AAA companies to go in there and bolster, you know, the $70 price tag, because let's face it, most of those games are worth paying the extra money for, like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield, or one of those games that you know you're going to play all year and you're going to get a lot of play time out of it. NBA 2K23, these games that are big AAA bangers that are asking for that $70 price, those are the games that are essentially going to be carrying the $70 price tag. Because let's face it, man, Sony games are great. They look beautiful. There's a lot of production value in there. But at the end of the day, I mean, with as many games come out nowadays, like, you're going to blow through that, and you're going to be well on to new games before even trying to think about playing that again. And maybe that's what it boils down to. Maybe they're not one and done games. Maybe there's just so much stuff. Because if you think about it, man, back in the 90s, we were lucky if we got like one game every like few months or something. You know what I mean? Like they weren't coming out as fast as they are now. Well, I mean, I guess they were coming out pretty fast back then too, but you know, like the AAA, the games that you're like, whoa, yeah, I want one of those. I mean, like, dude, it took forever for like a new Mortal Kombat to come out and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. But now we get so many games, and we're getting bombarded with so many games so fast that, like, most of us, our attention span, we're just like, boom, 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 on to the next game. That's not sustainable anymore, man. Like, they can't afford to do that. If their games are not meeting a threshold or a quality to keep you playing them longer, then yeah, that's not sustainable, man. Everybody's going to quit buying that. You can play Apex Legends for free. You can download it and play it. You can play Warzone for free. You can download and play it. You can download so many good games like Fortnite that have really big player bases and lots of content to continuously play. Like, those are available. Those are available right now, and you don't have to pay $70 to play those. You can just play them at your leisure and jump in there, and that's why they're getting to be so popular. People will, and it's weird. Nobody has the exact science of what games as service is going to make, is what game is going to make a good games as service. Like, nobody has that formula yet. That's why you keep seeing them throw things like Babylon's Fall at the wall and it fails. Like Hyperscape from Ubisoft. There's all these games that they just keep throwing out there, and like some will hit, some won't, and that's just the way it is. It seems like the weirder they are, like Apex Legends and Fortnite, and like the better they do. But I mean, like a Call of Duty name putting out Warzone, that one's going to do good because it's Call of Duty, and it's already one of the most popular games out there. So when I hear people sit here and try to tell me that like Game Pass is going to ruin gaming and it's going to fail and stuff, I laugh at them. I'm like, dude, nobody's buying these $70 bangers anymore, man. They're playing those free-to-play games, and they're eating them up, and they're spending billions of dollars on microtransactions on those. It's like sink or swim out there, and developers, they get in there because they want to build an experience and put it out there for as many people as possible. Game Pass opens that door for people to play that, plus helps them get paid for doing that and still be able to make money on the people like me that would buy their games and all the rest of you guys. Dude, if you're somebody, listen to me, man. If you're somebody out there that like, you just want to buy your games because you want to support the developer, do that because they do appreciate that. That's awesome. But if you're somebody out there that just wants to play games and you don't have the money and you've felt burned so many times, sign up for Game Pass. Sign up for PlayStation Plus Premium. Sign up to play games. Like, who cares? Just play games and enjoy it. The more people that sign up, the better. The better. The more the funding's there, the more everything can be better. But being a pessimist about Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Premium or Ubisoft Plus or EA freaking Play Pro, because I'm going to sign up for EA Play Pro. I'm signing up for that. That's $100 for a year. Boom. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sign up for the whole year on the PC, and I'll be able to play everything, because then that way I can play all my EA games on the PC and then just buy them on the Xbox. Like, this is awesome. So, yeah, man, if you're somebody that has a problem with the subscription services, man, just buy your games. Keep your opinion to yourself. Just keep your opinion to yourself and buy your games. Like, nobody cares. Like, everybody that's on Game Pass, they're pretty much satisfied. They've got more than enough content to play every month that most of them, like when I review a game, man, like they're just like, yeah, maybe I'll wait until I have time. And it's funny like that. So if you're going to, buy your games. If you want to buy your games, buy your games. Nobody's telling you not to do that. But I'm also telling you that, yeah, dude, sign up for Game Pass and save some money sometimes too, man. You don't need to buy every single game. Trust me. I'm sure Microsoft pays these developers more than enough to I'm sure they make enough money. Like, obviously they make enough money on it or they wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously they're getting a big enough check from Microsoft to where they can do that with their game, and then they get to watch their communities grow. They get to watch their games expand. They get to watch the excitement from the players playing their games, and that brings them joy. It does. It makes them happy. Every time they put a game out there for full price and a lot of people play it, what do most of you guys do? What does most of the community do? You guys complain about every single little tiny thing. Dakar Desert Rally comes out. Everybody complaining about it. And I'm like, dude, you know what? It scratched that itch for me. Like, you want to complain about it losing a few frames? Get a PC. Go buy a PC, dude. If you're so sick and tired of your games not hitting 60 or 30 or whatever, go buy a PC. Because you bought a console, man. Like, we bought consoles. Like, to get mad over something like a frame rate being not 60 frames, all this. None of these consoles do it. The PlayStation drops frames, the Series S, the X, even the PC drops frames, man. It's just so much more variable. So enough with the whole frame rate, acting like we're like top of the line frame rate people, man, because we're not, dude. We still bought consoles. It's getting so much. It's getting so much when people just complain and complain and complain. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes it gets frustrating. Sometimes I hate doing this, man. Sometimes I hate putting my money out there to buy a game, to show everybody, and then me be excited about the game, and then just listen to everybody complaining about it because some other YouTuber was like, this game's trash, man, just for the clicks. And then, yeah, it's like, it's frustrating, man. It really is frustrating. I've never went out and bashed a game for no reason. Everything that I've ever said about any game, it's always been a legitimate problem that I've had, and most of that's been fixed. And yeah, whatever. Like, should it have been perfect day one? Yeah, it should have, because that first experience is your first impression of that game. So yeah, it has to be right. It has to hit right so that you can enjoy that. So that's all my spiel about Xbox Game Pass and how much money they're making, and like, who cares? Because it shouldn't matter to any one of us. We should all just be playing our games and having fun. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.